Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming, and in this video I'm going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to add comments to the employee controller file. Number two, I'm going to try to run this thing and see what happens. Alright, so let's first bring up, there's the employee controller file. Let's put a little comment at the top here. This is a .cs file, so this controller handles all employee HTTP requests. In essence, it replaces the FRM employee manager form used previously. I think that's good enough. Now, let's put in some comments in here. Employee service encapsulates all data access and business logic for employees. All right. And then we've got this so then this, in essence, is our constructor. All right, so let's go in and take a look starting here. Okay, we've got a get. This will display a list of all employees or employees filtered by type. Okay. Here we will do a case insensitive match. Okay. So here we will either filter by type or show all. All right, this is our create. For lack of better words, this will render a blank create employee form. In essence, that's what it's doing. All right. Here, with this view model, this will handle form submission for creating a new employee. It should do the associated validation. Map it to the correct employee subtype, persist it to the database, And finally, redirect the user to the index with a success message. So how are we doing all that? Well, here we are validating the type-specific fields. So this will validate based on employee type. And in here we're doing a switch. So here we're going to use a switch to create the correct employee subclass based on the employee type selected. And then we can add here, whoops, note all decimal fields have been rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, I think that's enough there. So here we'll add the employee. Here we will send back a success message. And finally, here we will redirect the program back to the index. All right, next we've got the update, which is going to do a lot of the same type of thing. However, remember, with an update, we must know ahead of time the ID. So this will render the edit form that has been, I don't know, pre-populated? Is that even a word? With the current values of the selected employee. Here we will get all employees. Kind of a redundant after the name of the routine right there. Here we want to look up the target employee, and if not found, return a 404 error. Now, basically, I'll say that the ID doesn't exist. All right, then we're calling this map to edit. What this does is this will convert the domain model to an edit, let's put a new line, an edit employee view model. All right, and for our post here, this will handle form submission. submission for the actual update. Again here, if there is a bad ID, show an error. So here, this validate type specific fields, kind of like we did before. So this is the same logic used for the create employee. However, it uses the, what do we call those? So it uses the create new employee. However, whereas the create employee uses the create new employee VM, the update employee uses the edit existing employee VM. So it's the view model that's being used. All right. I'm looking here, I'm wondering if I skipped something. So validate. Oh. There's the post. So right here, it looks like I skipped something. And that is, I want to return a form with errors if the validation has failed. So if not model state dot is valid, meaning there was some kind of an error, I want to return view VM. All right. Here again, we want to get all employees. Here, we want to get the target employee. Based on ID. If ID invalid, show an error message. So if we make it down this far, it's valid. So we will fill in the common fields for all employees. We already have. We're not going to allow you to change the ID, but that'll change. It'll give you the first name and the last name, and then here we will do a switch on the employee type specific and get the associated info. I don't know, not a great comment, but that's the one I'm going to use. Okay. Update the employee. Generate success message. And redirect back to index page. All right. Finally, for the delete, you shouldn't say finally, but for the delete, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's the post. Trying to go by my notes here, which are not done really well, to be honest with you. All right, so we will again get all employees and then get the one we're looking for. Here, we're going to perform the actual delete. And again, just like before, we will generate success message and redirect back to the index page. All right. And we've got our validate type specific. So this is a private helper. So this will validate the employee type specific fields. For the create new employee VM, I'm going to copy this comment. Oops. And the reason is down here, we're doing the same thing, but for the other view. Oops. So this will do it for the edit existing employee VM. All right, I think that's good. Hopefully that is. Save all, hopefully that helped. So let's run it and see what happens. I've got my database now, done my migration, and I believe at least I've gone over everything in controllers. Data hasn't changed. Models hasn't changed. Services hasn't changed. I went over the view model stuff, and I went over the view stuff. So let's close this. Let's do a file, save all. Let's run it and see what happens. Of course, there were errors. Oh, I don't think well, I'll leave that like that. Good news is I only have 2 warnings in here, and that isn't really terrible. And this isn't future values. That's not even with what we're working on. So let's do a save all. Let's try it again. All right, you've seen this before. Now again, we've removed this, so I remove I don't need that dash, but that's okay. So we don't have any employees to view yet. So let's see if we can add an employee. That's good. Okay, so let's select the type. Let's try to add an hourly. We get the hours worked and the hourly rate. That's good. So we'll put in hourly employee 01, and we'll say they make $40, work 40 hours, and they make $25 an hour. And we'll try to save that. Of course, nothing. Did anything happen? I don't know. See if we can add another employee. Hourly employee 02, 50, 20, and save. I thought that would be giving me the message and going back here. So let's go to all employees. Did not add anybody. Son of a gun. That ain't good. Well, my guess is none of these are being saved. Yeah. Well, I thought we'd be finished, and we're definitely not. So I'm going to stop right here because I'm already at 23 minutes and see if I can figure out what the problem is. Hopefully I'll be back shortly.